Thanks, Coming together to celebrate the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the Andover community attended workshops as well as a special all-school meeting on Monday, January 18th. We spoke to students and faculty on their experiences attending these workshops, which covered topics like what it means to be a white ally or how to get involved in the Black Lives Matter movement. Here's live reporter Maya Tang with the story.
Thank you. Amelia Sands Rios, class of 22, a member of the Accomplices Through White Anti-Racist Education, or AWARE, explains the importance of AWARE's workshop titled White Accompliceship in Action. The workshop focused on providing a guide for white students on how to move forward while getting involved with anti-racism.
In making it an MLK Day workshop, we were able to almost broaden our horizons and talk to more white people, hopefully get more white people excited and involved in the anti-racist movement. Another reason we led this workshop is that we are constantly reminded about racism as a school, which is awesome. That being said, there's so much more to anti-racism than knowing that it exists and knowing that it is not good and that we shouldn't actively be racist. I think it's a good starting point, but it's not the ending point. You can be anti-racist. There's so many ways to get involved, and so our workshop almost focused on really honing in on what kinds of ways you can get involved, not just on racism is bad and we should not be racist, which again is a great starting point, but it's not the end of anti-racism.
Another AWARE facilitator, Sophie Glazer, class of 22, describes the reason that they chose this topic and breaks down what it was like leading the workshop. She also explains the main takeaways she hopes her workshop participants will move forward with.
We have been focusing on education for most of the year as a group and really wanted to have people reflect on ways that they could sort of look at problems or existing organizations in their communities and figure out, how to join, how to help. Another thing that we focused on in this workshop was sort of what it means to organize other white people, which is a quote that is used by a lot of Black anti-racist educators and advocates. This idea of, as white people, obviously, we are in community with a lot of other white folks who may or may not understand anti-racism and likely hold their own biases and prejudices. So we started our workshop by introducing ourselves and going over a few of the, discussion patterns and norms, what we wanted to bring into this space and what, ideas like change is constant, aim for change instead of perfection, don't distance yourself from the conversation, ideas like that.
The Building a World Without Borders workshop, led by English teaching fellow M.J. Ingle, class of 13, focused on educating students about movements for liberation. Ingle shares how the stories and history she discussed in her workshop connects to MLK Day.
The reason why I wanted to give a workshop on this topic is, one, I have personal experience with this topic, and I really wanted to use this as an opportunity to share that experience, do a little bit of my own storytelling. And secondly, I think that what imagining a world without borders helps us to really envision is what Dr. King really was the most interested in, which I think is movements for liberation being interconnected struggles. Dr. King was very invested in collective liberation, and I think learning about both the history of borders and in my workshop, the US-Mexico border, and then understanding the values of movements that believe our world would be better without these borders helps us to think very critically around the type of world that we really want to live in.
Ingle emphasizes the importance of telling stories to combat racism and prejudice.
I wanted to bring these stories to Andover because I think that when we think about justice in an elite educational setting, I think we can stay in the head a lot, right? We think about different theories of justice. We read other people's visions of justice. We learn how to talk about systemic violence and oppression. And these are all such important tools, don't get me wrong. I believe in them fully. what I think that MLK Day offers us is a chance to do some political education that is also about our hearts and our souls and feeling deeply in our bodies, being connected to this idea of collective liberation.
Along with Victoria Ortiz, class of 23, Ariana Phillips, class of 21, led a workshop called It Ain't Over, using direct action to promote an anti-racist culture shift. She weighs in on the purpose of this workshop.
The importance of this workshop is that we were trying to help students towards taking a bit more accountability about what was said on Black in Andover. Victoria and I noticed that a lot of what's happening now is that the blame is being placed on the administration, and that people are sort of talking about Black in Andover as if it is in the past tense. And I just want to make it clear, the blame is certainly on the administration, but we also have to take into account that Black in Andover isn't just about teachers, it's also about students, and it's about what students have done to POC that have basically driven them to write these stories.
Phillips explains her goal in creating this workshop and the type of space she wanted to create.
I chose this topic because it's kind of been in my mind a lot. I think as a student of color, hearing people speak of something that currently affects me in the past tense is just kind of insulting, especially because it's not just admin doing this, it's also students. And for students to say oh, this is something that's resolved is frankly kind of hurtful. So I just wanted to open up a space where not only students of color who may or may not have possibly posted on Black in Andover, have an honest conversation about race and the effects of race on this campus. And I just really wanted to open that space also so that non-POC students, so that white students could hear a little bit about what we were trying to say, and then also understand the hurt behind a lot of the things that we experience on this campus.
Ashley Venzel, class of 22, who attended the MLK workshop titled Healthcare Access for Marginalized Communities, shares her experience.
The importance of this workshop was learning what strides can be taken in the medical community to accommodate the deaf community. I learned that the deaf community is very proud of their community, as many deaf have significantly contributed to society and accomplished a lot, such as Thomas Edison. I also learned that medical professionals mistreat the deaf community because they view deafness as a condition that needs to be cured. And in reality, deafness is a condition that needs to be just treated as normal.
To read more about the MLK Day workshops this year, visit www.phillipian.net or check out the link in the description below. This is Maya Tang reporting.